And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what?
China.
All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
It began with large crowds, but now, and then escalated to this assault on the Capitol. And now, Eamon, we have new video.
Yeah, that's right, Shep. These pro-Trump loyalists have stormed the Senate floor now. And Frank Thorpe, who is the NBC News Capitol Hill reporter, has just tweeted out this video, which you can see now, of protesters on the floor milling about. At least one of those protesters wearing a Trump flag as a cape. You can see another one appears to be unloading a suitcase or duffel bag of some sort. And the protesters, at the point that video was taken, he just tweeted that out a few moments ago, appear to have total and unrestricted control of the Senate floor. I don't see any Capitol Police presence there at all on the U.S. Senate floor as we watch those protesters sort of milling about without really seeming to have any sense of what they're going to do once they got there. But the concern among many here, in addition to the symbolism, is going to be who got onto the Senate floor, what did they bring with them. This is a very controlled security environment where everybody who comes in has to go through metal detectors, have their bags checked and everything else. All of these bags now have been brought into the Capitol complex. It's not clear by whom, with what intent, what was brought into the Capitol, where all those people are right now. This is an enormous security nightmare of epic proportions for the Capitol Police now to deal with all of these people roaming the Capitol, angry, shouting. We've seen video of them fighting with the Capitol Police inside the Capitol building, and now we don't know exactly what they're carrying or what their intent is, Shep. So it's a very scary moment on the Senate floor as you see those protesters have total control over one of the most hallowed chambers in American democracy.
I want to say peace and blessings to everyone that's tuning in tonight. Not going to be before you long. Just want to, jump out here pretty quick, just to kind of touch on a couple of things, especially with everything that's going on. I want to say peace and blessings for you guys that are here. I know that this is not my normal time that I would jump on. I actually jumped on twice in a row outside of my normal time, but I will be online tomorrow night to do the playbook, and we will continue on with teaching about the covenant. And then this weekend, we'll continue on and we'll deal with the Holy Spirit, some of the poor teachings that we see that's out there about the Holy Spirit. So I want to say peace and blessings to all you guys before we get started. Let me go ahead and give some shout outs to you guys. I want to say peace and blessings to Sister Belinda. I want to say peace and blessings to Ashley Just Souls. Appreciate you for tuning in. Sister Lynn, I want to say peace and blessings to you. I want to say salama to Natika. Appreciate you tuning in tonight. My buddy Rose, I want to say salama to you. Dale Johnson, I want to say peace and blessings to you. Stephanie McLean, I want to say peace and blessings to you. Jimmy, I want to say shalom. Timothy, salama to you as well. Appreciate you for tuning in tonight. The Most High Yah's servant, the Most High servant daughter, I want to say peace and blessings to you. My sister, Sister Shalon, I want to say peace and blessings to you, and congratulations on the engagement as well. Peace and blessings to you. Mr. The Original, I want to say peace and blessings to you. Eileen, excuse me if I mispronounced your name, but appreciate you for tuning in tonight. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Just Reese, I want to say shalom, shalom, salama to everyone as well. And just to cover all the bases, appreciate you. APE or 8425, appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Who else do we have? Israel Yuda, Susan, who else? Deroa. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Stay safe in DC. That's right. There's a lot going on, family. Joy, I want to say peace and blessings to you. Stacy, I think I mentioned you, but peace and blessings to you again. Shalom. Pam, I want to say Sister Pamela, peace and blessings to you. Who else do we have here? I want to say peace and blessings to Jared, Brother Jared Williams. I want to say shalom to you all the way from Texas. Appreciate you for taking the time out tonight, my brother. Who else do we have here? You, Taylor. I want to say shalom to you, sis. Tiffany, Tiff C. I want to say shalom to you. Peace of me. I want to say shalom. Son of Yahweh. I want to say peace and blessings to you. I want to say shalom to you. Yahuda Israel. I want to say shalom. Darnell Blackshear, peace and blessings to you. Faith Music. I'm telling you guys, we're going to have them on here. Got to get you on here. Let me know when you're good. Want to let the people, those that may not know you, want them to really know who you are and the great music that you do. People appreciate you. And once this whole pandemic calms down, I will be coming down to visit you guys shortly after. So you may be seeing me sooner than what you could think, but appreciate you. All right. And who else do we have? J.L. King. All right. And lastly, New York. All right. Excuse me. I would say New York, right? Enyo Ziki, excuse me. If I mess it up, forgive me. Is it New York Oziki? If that's how you pronounce it, let me know. But with that being said, family, after doing these shout outs here, wanted to just take a little time out with you guys just to encourage you guys, because this is one of the things that I've been warning for almost a year. Many of you guys know me. Salama to you. Truth Hurts. Appreciate you for tuning in. I've been saying this for almost a year, and I expressed my concerns about the election. And many of you already heard me say this a number of times. We have a prayer call that I mention and lift this up in prayer regularly. Been doing this for almost a year about what I knew was going to happen just because of the climate of how everything was being set up in terms of the ugliness, the racial overtones that this administration has really been pushing. And my concern was, should he lose the election, what was going to happen? And so what we see today is just a reflection of what was already kind of stirring up in the atmosphere for the past few years, and it's going to continue. And this is one of the things that I spoke on encouraging you guys to be careful when you out and about. Use discernment. See what you see happening up in DC. It was calculated. It was a planned, calculated approach, and we're going to touch on that. I'm going to show a couple of images here and show you that this was a well calculated attack, right? And so, and we'll discuss it a little bit. And if anyone wanted to jump in and join in on this discussion, we can kind of have an open mic, and I'll drop the invite inside the chat here. And if you want to jump on in, I see my cousin Rama. I appreciate you for tuning in, Miss B. Peace and blessings to you. If you guys want to jump in, any one of you guys want to jump in and just share your thoughts about the current events, I'm going to drop the link inside the invite inside the chat, and feel free to just jump on in, and we'll just make sure we have very respectful dialogue. But nevertheless, this is some of the things that I've really been warning for you guys to be careful when you out and about. Your discernment has to be up at an all-time high. You know, in the church and outside of the church, when we start dealing with the gifts of the Spirit, discernment is the gift that many truly don't really take the time out to cultivate properly. So we have to have discernment, especially for the time that we're living in. When you're out and about, especially women, if you have to be out and about by yourself, especially when it's dark, if you need to get gas, go to a place that's lit and it has a lot of people there. Be careful of driving by yourself, especially going to like gas stations and supermarkets. If you need to go to the store, try to do it during the day when there's a lot of people around. You know, be careful when people come up and try to hand you things like cards and stuff like that, because many people are lacing cards. Be careful when you're going into that pump to pump your gas, because people are putting needles and things like that inside the handle itself. Be careful when you go to the ATM. Make sure you're aware of all those that are around you. You know, make sure that when you're before you insert your card, wiggle the see if you can wiggle the card holder to make sure that it doesn't move, because many are putting all kinds of things, hacks into those teller machines. So just really be careful with how you go about doing your business, being out and about. What you see happening in the Capitol, this is going to happen in the local government. And the theme that's being pushed right now is that the election was stolen, right? And that's the narrative that is being pushed. The election was stolen, and a lot of extremists are looking or taking the approach that this country was taken away from them. You know, they look at you and I as if we are taking their jobs, we are taking their benefits, we are taking things that in their minds, what they believe is theirs. So be very careful, be conscientious when you go out and about. If you have children, make sure you talk to your children, even how they interact with other children. You know, really talk to your children, fill them in with what's going on, especially as they get older. If they at 8, 9 years old, you can start talking to them about what's happening, because you have children at that age. If they can memorize cheat codes and all kinds of things with video games, you can start teaching them safety. All right. So I want to just highlight that, and I want to just put that out there. And so let me share with you a couple of prophecies, and then we'll touch a little bit on Donald Trump, and we'll touch a little bit about this group that you see in the background. And I'm going to open up. I'm going to drop the link inside the super chat here, or the chat rather, and you guys could jump on in if you want to have any type of dialogue on what we're dealing with tonight. All right. So we're dealing with insurrection, right? And think about this, guys. We get labeled identity extremists, and all kinds of other labels, hate groups, and all kinds of things because of waking up to who we are. But yet, Look at what we see happening here. We literally saw the White House, or rather Capitol Hill. And I used to work not too far from Capitol Hill. I used to work at the DOJ, which is right down the street. I used to work up that in that area. And it's not uncommon to see protests up there, but this was not a protest. Do not allow people to downplay what transpired. This was not a protest. This was an insurrection, right? This was an insurrection starting right at the top with the current commander in chief. This was it. I'll say it again. It was an insurrection. It's so many layers of laws that have been broken, right? So we already know if it was any one of us, man, we would be locked up just dreaming or thinking about it, killed, shot. We would not have been able to make it that close to any of those governmental buildings with any type of agendas like that. So we'll talk about that, because how were they able to get into those secured buildings? And I know how secure those buildings are. Like I said, I worked at the DOJ for I'm not going to just put the term that I worked there, but I worked there before. I actually worked at the federal courts before. And you just cannot come in like they did. How were they able to just sweep in? Where were the rest of the security force, from CIA to civil service? I mean, Secret Service, and where were they? Where were the police officers? Where were they? We would have been locked up at the toll booth, right? We're like, wait a minute, what? Wait a minute, why y'all surrounding my car? I'm just putting my $2 or $4 now when you're in the Maryland area, right? Baltimore area, heading down, right? They would have locked you up just right there. Hey, you look suspicious. Wait a minute. But you had people able to get into a government facility, and not just any government facility. They were able to get to the Senate floor. They were able to get to the chambers. You see some of these guys sitting in the office of Nancy Pelosi and some of the other officials, but they were able to get to the Senate floor and sit in the speaker's chair. Most of us can't even get the attention of our local senators and local representatives. You have to go through, jump through hoops to try to get their attention locally, let alone these guys went all the way up to Washington, D.C., went to Capitol Hill, and Capitol Hill has security forces all over that place, more than what you could ever imagine. But they were able to bum rush that whole area, get into this secure building. And if you only knew how secure this place is, they were able to get into it. Come on, we gotta, it's a lot deeper than what we can imagine. It's a lot deeper than what we can imagine. Think about it. Pence is the one that gave the order for the National Guard to jump in, not President Trump. See, President Trump, if you understand protocol, the president is the commander in chief of the armed forces, not the vice president. So what happened that caused the vice president to take charge and send the National Guard out there? Y'all better pay attention to what's going on. Did they relieve him? Did they relieve Donald Trump of his duty behind the scene? Y'all better pay attention to what's going on. You're witnessing history right here. Is it a coincidence that this is happening still right after that 400 years? It seemed like once we flip that switch to that 400 years in this country, right? It seemed like after all the laughing and all the things that took place, then suddenly it seemed like everything, all the wheels just fell off the car. So y'all better pay attention to this, guys. Again, why is Vice President Pence given the order, given the command for the National Guard to get in place? Y'all better pay attention to that. Pay attention to that, right? That don't sound right. I'm gonna have to put that into my 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 audio here, my drops here, because that's right. It don't sound right. Ashley Just Souls, that's right. It don't sound right. You know, you guys about to make me go geek mode, but I don't want to go geek mode. I'm trying not to go geek mode. I went geek mode the other night. All right. So think about that. Y'all better pay when you understand the president has command over the armed forces. He is referred to as the commander and chief. Right? So we're going to talk about a few things. Let's delve into this a little bit, right? You know, let's delve into this a little bit. Let me enlarge in my presentation so you can see it on your screen. All right, let's increase it. All right. All right. So I may have to take that banner down so you guys can see. Matter of fact, let me take that down so you can actually see the full presentation so it doesn't cover up anything. And then we'll put it back up. All right, there we go. All right, so the breach of Capitol Hill. All right, let's touch on a couple of things. And this group back here. Let me go back. This group here is called the Proud Boys, right? And this guy right here is the leader of the Proud Boys. He was just arrested a couple of days ago, right? We're going to deal with just a little bit of that, and then we'll open it up for you guys to jump on in, okay? So let's start with this biblical prophecy here. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 65 through 66. It says this, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of mind. Listen to what's happening here. It goes on to say, and the life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. That's what we're experiencing as a people inside this country. This is exactly what we are experiencing inside this country. Okay. And not just this country, other nations that we've been scattered about. We've been scattered to, and some fled to. So it's again, thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. So we're the only people that have to fear going outside our walls, out the safety of our homes, that we can be a one-stop stop from being killed. Do you know I had to deal with someone earlier, a Caucasian, right? He was literally talking about or made a comment about George Floyd dying from the coronavirus. So wait a minute. He said, yeah, he actually died from the coronavirus. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me somebody have their neck on somebody's throat? I mean, knee on somebody's throat, excuse me, neck on somebody's throat, right? Knee on somebody's throat for 8 minutes. And you telling me that this person actually died from the coronavirus? No, that person, George Floyd, he died from being choked to death. He was lynched. If he tested positive for the corona, hey, that's fine. But corona did not kill him. Corona does not choke you with a knee to the back of your neck, holding you down for over 8 minutes, sucking the life out of you. But it's amazing when you start understanding how people think, especially if you work in high places. Some of you guys understand, when you're working in high places, because I've always worked in a high level of upper management, and I've always had to deal with these type of attitudes. You'll be surprised how much racism is at the high levels of management, right? You'll be surprised what these people, how many of these people think and process and see you and all of us, especially our sisters. You'd be surprised how some of these men, these Caucasians, how they view our sisters. You'd be surprised, guys. But anyway, yeah, so I had to deal with that with someone earlier today. about that in itself, right? But nevertheless, this is what we're dealing with as a community. I want to take you to another verse here, a prophecy that you guys may be familiar with, but I just want to highlight it real quick. Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. And this is what it says: whose possessors slay them and hold themselves what? Not guilty. Let me read that again. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. And the Tanakh, it says, praise Yahweh, praise God. Doesn't that sound familiar? What group of people was praising the Most High after treating our people with brutality? What people are holding scripture, holding Bibles, and justifying their behaviors, but saying praise the Father, praise God? Come on, let's be real with this, guys. We can't cover this thing up. We can't candy coat this thing. Think about this: whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh. In other words, praise the Most High for what? Having or being in a position to benefit on our suffering. Okay? And then it says here again, their own shepherds pity them not. Their own shepherds. In other words, we get sold out by our own people. And we see that happening over and over and over again. Okay? So let me show you one more thing. This is why I put that scripture up. This article, and some of you guys may be familiar with this current news on Jacob Blake. The officer who shot Jacob Blake will not face charges. Jacob Blake was shot 7 times, right? 7 times in his back. But notice here, it says here, Blake will also not face charges, gravely said. Shesky told investigators that he used deadly force during a chaotic encounter because he was afraid of Blake while attempting to flee the scene, was trying to kidnap a child in the backseat of the vehicle. You hear what this officer said? It said that he was scared. He was afraid. He feared basically for his life because James Blake, right? Jacob Blake, rather, he while attempting to flee the scene, he was trying to kidnap a child. Wait a minute. His own children were sitting in the back seat, was sitting in the car while this whole thing was taking place. Right? But notice what it says here too. The Wisconsin Department of Justice had said Blake had a knife in his possession, and the weapon was found on the floorboard of his vehicle. Blake himself told authorities he possessed a knife, gravely said. So you know that there was a deal going on because Jacob Blake did not have a knife in his hand, but they're saying that it was on the floor of his vehicle. Found on the floorboard of his vehicle, but the officer couldn't see that. You saw the videos like I saw it. I was going to post it up, but I don't even want to see that happen again. But they shot him 7 times. And look at the reoccurring thing as we see the prophecies taking place, that the possessors, our oppressors, they will do all kinds of things to our people and hold themselves not accountable. And many of our own people are selling our own people out, especially when you understand what happened with Breonna Taylor and the district attorney or whatever during for that whole fiasco with that. And we'll deal with that later, another time, not tonight. All right. So another thing I want to highlight, flipping it over to another discussion, to the current discussion that we're dealing with right now. And I'm going to read this article to you. Twitter says Trump's account is locked, right? Right? This is coming from The Verge. Twitter is locking Trump. Twitter is locking President Donald Trump's account for 12 hours after removing 3 tweets that contained repeated and severe violations of its civic integrity policy. It says the account will be permanently suspended if violations continue, and it will not be unlocked unless Trump entirely deletes the 3 offending posts that he made. All right. So his Twitter account is now frozen, right? Until he removed some posts that help trigger a lot of the situations. This is crazy, guys. This is really crazy of what we see on display right now. You are witnessing history like never before. Think about this. Think about all what we witnessed. We're all living in a day that we never thought that we would see a melanated person as the president, right? It was so bad that in terms of us, just saying, hey, it'll never happen, to the point that we start referring to certain presidents like Bill Clinton as being the first person of color up in office, because just his attitude, his style, and so forth, his charisma. Many of our people was giving him that label. But overall, guess what? We had a person of color, and look at what happened. We saw some things happen in government that none of us thought we would ever see, but it took place. But then fast forward, he's out of there. And now we have what? Donald Trump. I never thought, coming up in the New York, New Jersey area, I never would have thought in a million years that Donald Trump would make it to be elected a president. He was a Democrat. He supported the Democrats. And then he flipped over, right? Because he saw that it was easier to become president on a Republican ticket. Y'all have to look at this. So when we start, and I encourage you guys start learning and really doing the background on these guys, because I know many of us talk about what the Clintons did with the crime laws that they put in place, especially up in New York, that was locking up our brothers and sisters like crazy, right? But guess who helped push that? Donald Trump. He put money in the Clintons' pocket, and the Democrats and other politicians that was pushing that. He was the one. Why that law came about if you guys remember the Central Park 5, right? They start pushing these type of laws, and I lived up in that area, and some of you guys from the area probably remember, if you got pulled over walking down the street, if the cops stopped you and you had more than like $100 or more, and you don't have a receipt to justify where you got that money from, they could take your money, right? They could take what's in your pocket, right? So when I say they, Donald Trump, all of them are in the same, they in the same party together. On the surface, on the outwards, they make us think that is a distinction between Democrats and Republicans. It's still the same bird, guys. Still the same bird. All right. So let me share another thing here, and then I'll open it up for anyone that want to jump in. All right. This is coming from another article. Proud Boys leader arrested, accused of burning church banner. Okay. And this is the Proud Boy leader, but this is a little bit from the article. It says police in the nation's capital on Monday, right? And this article, this occurred. This article was 2 days ago. So he was already in this area. They were already in this area plotting and planning, right? Look at what he had, the hat that he's wearing, the War Boys, right? I'll say it again, the War Boys. All right, January 4th, 2021. So he was just arrested, right? He was arrested a couple of days ago, this past Monday, right? Police in the nation's capital on Monday arrested the leader of the Proud Boys, who is accused of burning a Black Lives Matter banner that was torn down from a historic Black church in downtown Washington last month. Right? It goes on to say Enrique Tario, however you pronounce it, 36, was arrested by Metropolitan Police Department officers after he arrived in Washington ahead of protests planned by supporters of President Donald Trump to coincide with the congressional vote expected Wednesday to affirm Joe Biden's election victory. So this was already planned. He was already in the area. He was already in the area. They were already in the area. They planned, they mapped out what they were going to do. Now, let me show you a couple of pictures, and I'll drop the invite inside the chat here, and we'll wrap this up. This is one of the images right here. This is why I say this is calculated. Look at this right here, guys. Look at this. Look at this image that you see on your screen. Notice you see they took the barriers and made the barriers into ladders. And look at how they're climbing up this wall. God, they climb up the wall to get into the windows. They shouldn't have not been able to get this far. They should not have been able to get this far. This should not have happened. They should have been, right? If this was you and I, we would have been shot before we got to this place, this position that they're in. They took barriers. Understand this. This tells you this. They've been practicing this. That's why I want to show you this, guys. They were very calculated. They knew exactly what they were doing. They took the barriers that normally block the people, and look at what they did. They put it up against the wall, and they used that, and they already been practicing this exercise. That's right, DK, shot in the back. Actually, we would have been shot before just even thinking about it. You know what I mean? Just even thinking about it, they would have shot us. Right? We wouldn't have gotten this far. But they climbed these walls. And I'm going to show you another image, right? I didn't put all of them in. I just put a couple of images, this one and another one. But I'm going to show you one more image. And just to show you that they were practicing this. They were rehearsing this. They climbed these walls. They took barriers and climbed these walls. Right? Now, let me show you something here. This is another image. Right? This is in the Senate floor. This guy, let me put the image up. He's climbing down. Notice how he's climbing down. You can't really see the rope because of the distance of the photo, but he's not just jumping down off the top. No, he has a rope, and look at his position. That tells you that they practice this. They practice this. Look at this. They practice this. This wasn't something that just happened by coincidence. They practiced this. And I can tell you that they were on the list. I'm pretty confident that there was a report. There was briefings given on warnings about these guys. These are professionals right here, guys. These are professionals. These are not amateurs. These are professionals. Let me go back to the previous image. I only did 2 images. Let me go back here. Again, these are professionals, right? I got several pictures of this guy, right? He made it in, got guns. All of them got guns inside the main area. They also wanted to, I think this guy right here sitting in Nancy Pelosi's seat. These guys made it to the actual senators and congressmen. These House of Representatives, they made it to their actual offices, sitting in their chairs. They actually made it to the Senate floor, to the center of the Senate floor, and actually sat in the chair of the House's chair, or the Senate, whichever one, their chair. This should never have happened. If it was us, like I said, we would have been, they would have pulled us over at the, let's just say at the 7-Eleven or getting gas. Hey, we just believe that you're going to go ahead and do this right here. Right? We believe you just look guilty. So we're going to check you. You look guilty. We're just going to lock you up. But look at this right here. They practice this. They practice this. and they came up there days in advance, and they scouted the place. They knew what angle that they were going to go in at. And so this is what really, like I said, when you start understanding things from a military perspective, a government perspective, and some of you guys, if you really understand, when you start looking at strategies and so forth, I'm not going to get into logistics and all of that, you will understand that this was calculated. This was planned. And for me, it almost gives, you start wondering who else was on the inside. Who was on the inside? Who gave them the tip? Because they came in, and according to the news, they said that the security people, they basically conceded, right? They just allowed them to bum rush that area and take over because they just wanted to make sure the senators were saved. They took the senators and took them out of there. Guys, when you work in a government building, I've never been to the Senate floor, but I know how these government buildings are. I worked at the DOJ, Department of Justice, and I'm telling you, these buildings are secure. They had a plan. Who helped them? Who else? Who helped them put this in place? Who helped them strategize? That's the question. That is the question. All right. So I'm going to put this link inside the, I'm going to put an invite here. So if any one of you guys want to jump in, just to add some thoughts here. And like I said, let's be respectful. We're not going to be here too long because I got to do this tomorrow night. That's right, Ashley. Insider threat. Insider threat. And so even looking at that term, I know you know the lingo. Like when I see you use insider threat, I know you know the lingo, right? Because that's some of the things that you have to know, and you have to be continuously up to speed with year by year insider threats. And I believe that this was an insider threat, as you just pointed out. This was an insider threat. All right. So let me post this in the chat. All right. And, if you guys want to jump on in, feel free to jump in, click on the link. But again, let's be respectful. And I'm just going to bring a few of you guys in and we could just talk about this. All right. All right. See, yeah, I could tell, right? She did her OPSEC training. That's right. Right. When you see that insider threat, you know the deal when you see somebody use that term, right? So I wasn't going to let the cat out the bag there. But let's see who we got here. I think we have, when you see that insider threat, all right, you may have to turn your volume down a little bit because I hear a little echo. How you doing, Covenant Awaken? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing, Pastor Kelly?
Doing great. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and just wanted to open up the floor, kind of have like a little open mic, so to speak. Did you want to share any thoughts on just the current events that we covered?
Yeah, so you covered a lot in terms of the meat and the potatoes, and I don't know if a lot of people were catching this when all the stuff had transpired. There are some things going on that were in play in the dynamic. So first, you had a rally, and that rally was basically a muster from Trump, and that was okay. Was that me?
No, that's not you. I'm just added someone here. I'm just muting them out so that way you won't hear them in the background. All right.
Yeah, so basically when you heard what was going on, Trump was basically saying that the folks that were with him and the folks that were for him. And so when you also had that going on, soon after when that rally had ended, they went on over, and then CNN cut to the floor, and you also would see Mitch McConnell. Now, I don't know if a lot of people caught the body language on Mitch McConnell. It was almost as though he was afraid. And I was wondering, like, why does he look so scared and shaken? It shouldn't be, frightening. It should just be, okay, I get that a lot of people are nervous because, this is something that the votes are getting tallied and validated. But it was almost like, a fear of life and actual danger. And so what I really want to say is what you were seeing and what the nation was seeing, you're seeing the actual contention of the left and the right. It was actually the two secretive combatants of government really going at each other. And so I actually, when I was working at some high levels, I actually saw that in a 4-star command, and I really didn't really understand what the contentions were, but I started to kind of pick up and see how things were moving. And so all I can say is you have to remember Trump is still the commander in chief. And so those orders, those National Guard men and everything else, they were taking too long to mobilize because nothing was given by his direction. And I would actually argue that he may have caused them to not interdict as this stuff was happening. Because I can guarantee you, if that was, black folks that were there, that thing would have been interdicted in less than 10, 15 minutes. You wouldn't have had, they would, you saw the sharpshooters get into play. You saw all the folks. You even have, there's a plainclothes contingent that's always there.
That's right.
So all that stuff that was there, it was like, I looked at it, it was just foolery, and the shenanigans were getting played of, they're jumping on in here and they're going on in there. Well, here's also the thing. The folks that were there, the Capitol Police, they cut and they ran. And that's not right. Their protocol. Their protocol is if people breach, they're dropping bodies. And it would be more than just the one lady that lost her soul, unfortunately. But it would have been more. And you could tell, I mean, they had a black man running away from these white folks, 3 of them. And you could tell, no, that's not the proper protocol, because they're there to defend the Senate. You have your Capitol Police, you have your plainclothes, you have your Secret Service agents. So there's a layer of security that you have to go through. You're not just going there willy-nilly. And
you're not supposed to make it past out, even over the barriers. Once you get past that initial barrier, everything is off. Anything happens. You can be tackled, you can be shot right there. Once you go past that barrier, where they, that they placed it. Once you get past there, now you get into dangerous territory. And you touched on the other thing, like with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like buzzwords with like keywords with dogs, right? When they train attack dogs, right? They give them a certain word that triggers them, right? That's their trigger word. And when you hear how Donald Trump was speaking, he gave them their trigger word. It looks as if he gave them their trigger word. And what's the trigger? They stole the election.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people. So when I was looking at Trump's initial rally, I for some odd reason I like to switch between CNN and Fox, and I always kind of see what the nuances is, what they're trying to what BS they're trying to feed to us. But when Trump came on in, he was priming them, and it was a different sort of atmosphere, because he was basically revving them on up, and he was saying, look, you can't trust the media, you can't trust this, you can't trust that. And one of the key words that he said, you're going to have to fight for your country.
That's right.
That came out of his mouth. I said, oh my goodness. He literally just gave them the
key word.
That's the authority. Hey, Trump said it.
That's right.
I'm now putting my life on the line because I'm a patriot. So I can fight. I've been entitled to fight. And you want to know what that means? That means that if I were to sacrifice my life, guess what? I'm doing it in the service of my country because I'm maintaining the integrity of this union. And so you had to understand those were the dog whistles that we had seen. We understood it, because we had been studying this, but that was the contention. Now, I don't think a lot of folks really understand this. So right now, you have to understand that has been going on through at least a dozen or more states with their state capitals as we speak.
That's right. That's
and,
right.
And so you have to also understand that once this contention happens, these folks can literally be recalled. The senators and the Congress can literally be recalled by their states if they say, hey, you know what? It's too dangerous. It's too murky. Let's get you all on out of here. So then what do you think happens? That's when your 1861 happens. That's when folks start to say, well, guess what? I may, this is going to be in their congressional and their state governments, and they can literally do some sort of a language or some sort of a memo to the Congress and dictate this is what's going to happen. On top of that, remember, Trump had left and he's down here in Florida where I'm on at. And don't be surprised if he takes an early detour to come on down and everything starts to get worse. Because if you've noticed, when he called off the dogs, he never said anything else in terms of, well, we shouldn't have done that. We this and that. He
never rebuked them. He never gave them any kind of open rebuke. And let me bring Sister Melinda in, but I definitely appreciate your input here. And stay here. I want to bring Sister Melinda here, and I got Brother Kadar here. Let me just bring them in real quick so they're not waiting too long. But definitely appreciate your input, and you hit it right on the nail. You're hitting it right on the nail. Sister Melinda, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I do. So hey, shalom, and thank you, Pastor Kelly. Like I'm only using a cell phone. I don't have a television, and I don't even have a computer. I just use my cell phone for everything. So what I wanted to state first was I kind of jotted some stuff down. This looks like exactly what it's supposed to look like. So I'm not surprised by any of it. I kind of think this was done to definitely to halt something. I know that when I say this, family in the comments section, I'm gonna get some booze and some tomatoes, but I do believe the election was stolen, not because I like Trump. I used to be a Trump supporter. And then when I woke up to who we were, I saw more to what this all was really about. So I could no longer support him, but at the same time, I know for most of us, we are kind of just historically, we support the Democrats, and it kind of Trump was one of those people. He's a hard pill to swallow, so he's easily unlikable. And I think that people are kind of, he rubs people the wrong way, so he's easy to hate. But anyway, I'm going back when Kavanaugh was, the Senate hearings with Kavanaugh. Remember when those people stormed the Senate? That was planned also. When we talk about sedition and stuff, well, Maxine Waters told people to threaten or hit or do harm to Trump supporters. That's sedition too. So it's been on both sides, and it's pretty disgusting. Either way, it's dangerous. So anyway, I think what I wanted to say, my waking up happened in about 2016, but it was first of all to the politics of this stuff, and it was to I guess the Democrat Party. I'm not saying that we should be following either, because I'm seeing this is not for us. So now I'm just kind of eating popcorn and watching it go down, because with all this, I know there's a plan and the Most High is in control. That's what I know, and that's what I believe. So I try not to because I used to get really worked up and emotional about a lot of this, because I think sometimes I see that a lot of it's easy when they say things like the Proud Boys, it's supposed to automatically trigger us. But I just think that a lot of these people, if you go and you follow the money, a lot of them are funded and it's the same origin. So I think this is to look like exactly what it's supposed to look like. And it's supposed to, with the cause division. But I looked behind the scenes, I saw a lot of this, even with like the Dominion voting. So I know that everyone says, well, oh, Trump's using the narrative about stolen election. Well, maybe it was stolen. I mean, but either way, it was all on purpose. And I'm just waiting to see how it all fares out.
Yeah,
but that's what I want. I have much more. I'm kind of nervous, and I
I
wrote some
really
things
appreciate
down.
you.
So
Really appreciate you jumping on, and that's why I wanted to open it up.
yeah,
Just so
thank
that way
you.
you guys can, share your voice, and share
Yeah.
your thoughts, and kind of have like an open mic here, so to speak. So don't go anywhere. Let me bring my brother
Okay.
Kadar on here, and I want to see what he, hear what he has to say here. I know he's been waiting in the back. Brother Kadar, you ready? On here, and I want to
Shalom, shalom, brother. Shalom.
waiting in the back. Hello, Mom. How are you? I think I hear a little echo in the back.
Shalom, shalom, brother. Shalom.
Waiting in the back. Hello, Mom. How are you? I think I hear a little echo in the back.
Shalom, shalom, brother. Yeah, I've been hearing the echo and I've been listening to the other ones that came on. But I keep hearing niggas saying the same thing over and over again. But I wanted to come on to tell you that I've been watching you here lately, which I watch you a lot. So you've been bringing the word, especially about the law. And even though tonight I was listening to you was talking about what is going on, which is not far from where I live at too. Up here in Fredericksburg. That verse, Zechariah 11 and 5, really, basically, it's a prophecy that's what's going on today in our time, and the other verses that you brought out. So earlier, when I was on Facebook,
Hey, brother Kadar, real quick, are you able to turn your volume down? Because your echo is like really big. I can really hear your echo pretty bad in the squeak. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Or do you have your mic like near a speaker or anything? Or what type of mic are you using?
How about now? Can you hear me now?
It's better, but I can still hear the echo. Or do you have like any earphones you could use?
Yeah, hold on. Let me. I might just go ahead and just.
Better, but I can still hear the echo. Or do you have like any earphones you could use?
Yeah, hold on. Let me. I might just go ahead and just.
Okay. So why are you doing that? Covenant, did you want to add anything else as you pointed out? You gave some great information. Any other things that you wanted to point out?
Yeah, as someone in the chat had said, this isn't over yet, and I look at it in terms of if you look at, because I mean I've spent 20 plus years in the military, so doing a lot of stuff as an analyst. That's the best thing I can kind of say. So
trust me, I know I know the lingo, so I know.
Yeah, So so we're actually looking at the latency. It's very latent. It's very small, but it's not really small. But you're now seeing well, this is a terroristic action, but after your terroristic actions, we're going to probably see an insurgency at some point. So now think about this. What a lot of people weren't tying this 2 and 2 together. You just had the person in Tennessee and Nashville blow up something, and I was like, okay, that's more than likely a pretext in terms of what is getting ready to transpire. Because there's always something within like a 10 to 14 day window that's always pulled, because it's to check, it's to do your little pre-flight, all that other good stuff. And so when that happens, to basically do your testing and validation, that's you're basically now mission capable. So sorry if I'm using a lot of military jargon.
Trust me, I completely understand everything you're saying.
You-
I was
you-
in the Air Force for 8 years.
yeah. So
Yeah, I
now,
understand.
exactly. So now your little pre-flight checks are done, and you're talking to mission control, making sure your comms are ready, and now you had your comms, because guess what? That order that order was given, and the execution was done. And I just thought that it was very brazen to kind of see, how a literal insurgent action was done at this level and at this much veracity.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know and that's what takes a lot of people by surprise. It wasn't that this thing wasn't here. We've seen plenty of the initial, I would say, like, quiverings or shakings, especially this summer. It was the fact that, it's cold. I don't know how cold it is up there in your area in DC, but I'm pretty sure it's probably, in the 30s and the
Yeah,
20s.
it's much cooler than Florida, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And these folks are on in there, they're scaled. And here's the thing: these folks are wearing light tactical
There you go.
uniforms. And I don't think these folks know. Look, they have the tactical helmets. They got special forces helmets on.
Come on
Okay,
now.
they had folks walking up in there in body armor and tactical vest. And here's the thing: not only that, the fear factor is, see, Trump had ordered something, and not only did he order it, it was executed within less than an hour.
That's right. Very precise. It got in, and many of them got out.
Yeah. I mean, this was like an Osama bin Laden raid, But I look at it like this. This is one of the things I had forgotten to mention, but I look at it like this. I think that if they had been able to fully occupy Capitol Hill, that would have been in Trump's calling card, because then Trump would have had the full control and the full enchilada.
And you know how it came across to me, and I don't mean to cut you off. It kind of came across to me is to send a message that I can touch you no matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? For those that, because they still had to go through the, making it official with, the president-elect and all that. And so it just gave the impression that just want to show that he can access any one of them, kind of like a New York local mobster type thing, to let the person know that I can touch you no matter where you are. You know what I mean? So think about what you're getting ready to do, kind of like a little muscle there. So it kind of came across that way a little bit to me, because like you said, it was very strategic. They got in and many of them got out, without any type of resistance.
Yeah, and I haven't even seen the local news, or I mean the CNN or Fox or anything else, but I didn't see anybody really get any type of arrest. I haven't seen people getting detained. I haven't seen any of that. The only thing I've seen was they came back to Capitol Hill, and they're now doing their business as usual for the election. And my biggest concern with this is, what is that going to trigger with the rest of the nation? And on top of that, what repercussions is going to happen with Trump being out the office? And I look at it like this. I never thought Trump was going to leave office, okay, because of how things are working on out for him. He just got caught with Georgia and those election, the basically racketeering, for lack of better.
That's basically what he was doing. I mean, let's call it what it is. That's New York, New Jersey approach to doing things. He just started doing it from the angle of the White House.
Yeah, and I mean it's racketeering. I mean the man is he's a mobster, and you see the mobster mentality because he's squeezed. You know, he potentially could be in jail. You know, he could potentially be facing charges. And I mean now he went for the gusto of sedition and treason. You know, with this is a coup. So I don't think these folks understand this was literally a coup, but now it's so much bigger than a coup because it's now it's been announced nationwide. Because see, one of the platforms, because you have Trump's Twitter account suspended. One of the biggest platforms, they knew all about this. They knew all the secondary actions that was going to take place. But
Yeah.
when you do an insurgency, guess what happens? You say something once, and guess what? It doesn't stop.
That's
It's
right.
not going to stop.
That's right.
And so
Hey, my brother, let me let Kadar say something real quick because I don't want to have him hold that thought. I don't want to cut you off, but hold that thought because you're sharing some great information that the people need to understand because this what you're sharing, the average person really don't know. So you're sharing some great information. But let me let Kadar chime in because he's been waiting a while. So Kadar, are you there? Really don't know. So you're sharing some great information, but you may have to just mute your streaming, and that way you can still hear me, but we won't hear the echo in the background.
Yeah, I was trying to fix it, but I still got a background back here.
Mute your streaming, and that way you can still hear me, but we won't hear the echo in the background.
So do what now? Mute your screen? I was trying to fix it, but I still got
like whatever is your stream. Let's just say if you're using let's just say Firefox as your browser, right? Just mute the YouTube session, but you can still talk. I'll still be able to hear you, but at least it'll stop the echoing. Fox as your browser, right?
Yes.
Mute the YouTube session, but you can still talk. Browser, right? Yeah, that's because I'm still hearing the echo. Can you turn, for example, turn your speaker down, right? Don't even mute that because you're muting yourself out. It's still muting you out. Try turning your speakers down. Are you using like your speaker in your computer? Turn your speaker down. Are you using the speaker in your computer? Try turning your speakers down. Are you using like your speaker in your computer?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe try turning your volume down in your computer. On your computer.
I turned it down. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Is it better now?
Oh, that's much better. Now try to turn it down a little, some more. I hear a slight echo, but that's much better.
How about now?
Yeah. What do you think? Covenant Awakening, is that better, everyone?
Okay, I was just saying that a lot of stuff that you went on earlier. I was on Facebook Live, and I went back over. I went over that earlier too with Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5, and you made some very, very good points, and we can see there's a double standard within the seed of Japhet and the Israelites in the land that we in, and basically across the whole wide world that we are now. And we can see that the Israelites in the land that we in, and basically across the whole wide world that we are now.
You good? Brother Kadar, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'll just make sure you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. You sound like you kind of cut yourself off in your thought.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was looking at that earlier because I don't live too far from there myself, and yeah, and so I was looking at that earlier because I don't live too far from there myself, and the reason I keep pausing because I keep hearing myself talk. But anyway,
or even turn the volume down some more because I can hear you clear. Whatever you're listening to, you can turn that down, and I can still hear you talk. I hear you very clear.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was looking at that earlier, and I was like, wow, if that was us up there at the Capitol building, we would be shot down and all kinds of things would have happened. I used to work at the Pentagon, and the way the security is, I mean, man, I don't see how in the world that them people got in the Capitol building, which I've been there myself too. And I've been to the White House on different occasions, but we can see a double standard within our country. And I think that Joe Biden and, the vice president, that's one of the things they should bring out. For, of course, now I realize, according to Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15, we shouldn't have nobody above us unless it's our brother. But, we're living in the land of our captivity. And a lot of people, when they ask me about voting, when I bring these scriptures out, they don't want to hear it. They get upset. They get mad. But we'll see what Joe Biden and the vice president now, we'll see if they will bring this double standard that we see is going on in America and basically is going on all over the world, that we are second or third class citizen wherever we at as so-called black people, and that people that's in the church and going to church every Sunday, are they going to just say, hey, let's forgive him, let's pray for them, and not look at the problem, what's going on? Just like you were saying earlier about the guy that got shot in the back, and the police did get charged for it. I even brought the same thing out too. And we see that, it's a double standard. It's basically how some of us can recognize that the seed of Esau has leaked in some of Japhet people, according to Joshua chapter 90, Genesis 36, verses 19 to 25. And we can see that because it says that they're going to have a perpetual hate for us. Genesis 36, verses 19 to 25. And we can see that because it says that they're going to have a perpetual
Well, definitely appreciate you for chiming in. And again, as you pointed out, even in this country, just the way that it's built, everything that's put in place was not put in place for treating us as equals per se. It was put in place, these laws and everything wasn't put in place for us per se, in terms of being an equal in this country. It was put together with us being a product of within this country, being owned in this country, so to speak. So definitely understand what you're saying, and appreciate you chiming in with your thoughts here. And we're going to do this more. Maybe we could do this once a week, just kind of have an open mic like this and so forth. But definitely appreciate you guys for chiming in. And Sister Melinda, I didn't know you dropped off, but appreciate you being on here. Covenant Awakening, did you want to share anything else before we let others jump in here? Did you, because you gave some great information as well. Anything else you want to share or finish up the thought that you were kind of going in with?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of to jump on in here, especially while this thing is going on fresh, because a lot of moving parts are happening, as we speak. And just as I had touched on earlier about an insurgency, and if you see the news, they quickly were talking about protesters to rioters, the terrorists. And you got to remember, these are the labels that they're using, to foment the emotional response, because now things are starting to polarize. And here's the thing, family. A lot of the folks, especially a lot of the Trump supporters, are going to see that, and they're going to be more staunch in terms of their support. They're going to say, okay, well, you want to know what? This is what I need to do because this is what I've seen happening. Oh, and that's really the mobilization call. So, for us, we kind of will look at it like, okay, well, you know what? They're going crazy. I'm not going to go crazy like that. For them, this has been the programming that they've had for the last 60 days, on top of Corona, on top of everything else. This is now that mobilization call, because remember back in the one of the debates, remember Trump had said, stand back and stand by, and now here comes self-fulfilling prophecy of that statement, coming to light right now. So I'll cover this some more tomorrow morning on my Covenant Awakenings channel. But Pastor Kelly, I thank you for letting me come on here and say my little piece. At this, I call this late night for me at almost 11 p.m. So
Hey, I thank you for taking the time out to share the wisdom, because the lingo that you share is what most people are not familiar with. So just by hearing you, I know you caught a lot of the little things that the average person wouldn't catch, especially being that you're prior military, you worked in the government, so you know the inner workings and you know what to look for. So I definitely appreciate it. And one last thing I want to point out, if you want to chime in on it, is what I found kind of odd was the fact that the vice president gave the order for the National Guard when normally that's the commander in chief, which is Donald Trump. So I found that kind of odd to see that Pence is the one that actually called the National Guard to come out. So the question is that is something going on behind the scene that they just said, hey, you know what, we're relieving you of your duty, so to speak, whatever case may be. But I just found it kind of odd to see that the vice president was the one that actually issued the order. The vice president was the one that was actually speaking out on the situation.
And that was very odd. And that was something to take note of, because you have to understand, see, the vice president was in one location while the president was in the other. And I looked at it, I was thinking like, hey, that was the target. Okay. And that was going to be either the collateral damage from the protesters or some sort of, whatever effect that they were trying to have in order to sway or catastrophically, do damage to whatever that end state was. And on top of that, that was, if you listen to Trump, and he was saying, yeah, it all depends on Mike Pence and it all depends on this. And Pence was doing the procedural motions, but right beforehand, and the senator had said, one of the senators that was getting ready to ask, well, what about us on the floor? They were trying to raise objections, and there was a statement that was said by Mike Pence. He said, according to Article 3 or something, I never got the technical article, but it really raised the question that he wasn't going to overturn anything, or basically he wasn't going to do the bidding that Trump was relying on in order for the constitutional crisis to be swung in Trump's favor. And so if you had noticed that, see, I think that was the signal of, okay, well, guess what? The Falcon or the Eagle or whatever isn't playing ball, so now that he's now on the target list. He's on the target card, so that was something that I had picked up on. And I said, oh, that's why. Yeah, they were trying to go through. And yes, because there was it was basically, he was going to try and do Pence in under friendly fire. Pence saw that, and Pence called the audible to save himself, because I think Trump was trying to go for blood. And because it didn't really pan out the way that Trump wanted to pan out, that's when Trump had brought in that week behind excuse of, oh, well, we love you all. I still got conned. All right, go home, get some rest. We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah. And think about if a shootout would have broken out, then that would have definitely delayed any type of proceedings far as the electoral voting confirmation with the votes and all. So that would have stopped that. That would have just ended that right there. Something that would have been very, historical, just for that to happen on this day. So I definitely appreciate you. And well, let's do this more often. I plan on doing this at least once a week, opening up the floor to where as though we could just have dialogue like this, because this is some of the things that we need to be up to speed with what's going on around us, and with the information that from being government, prior government, and so forth, and just some of the other inner workings I could hear that would actually help a lot of the people to understand the lingo as well as the behaviors and what to look out for.
Yeah, there's definitely not a problem. I'd love to talk to you all in the future. Shalom, family.
All right, don't drop off yet. Just tell the people where they can reach you at, because you said you have a YouTube channel. Tell everyone about your YouTube channel and how they can connect with you. And make sure you drop it inside the chat as well, because I want to check out your channel as well.
All right. Well, family. As I see, some of y'all know me, or I'm Covenant Awakenings. You see me, Brother Karis Copeland in the chat. So that's my government name. If anybody's trying to look me on up, look, I my taxes are paid on time. Yeah, okay, and I ain't got that much credit. So, I'm a black man. So no, but you can reach me. I'm on Hebrew Sphere and Facebook and at my Covenant Awakenings channel. So I hope to see you all, and I'm going to definitely go over this tomorrow morning. While it's bright and early before things get crazy again.
Okay, and I'll be on the lookout too. So don't be surprised you see me in the watching you. So I'll be on the lookout for it as well.
All right.
All right. Appreciate you, my brother. And we want to do this again. This is not going to be the last time, but thank you again for sharing your insight. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in William Smithers here. I see him. He's here waiting, but appreciate you, Covenant. And we're going to do this again soon, but I'll be on the lookout for your channel in the morning. What time you come on?
Yeah. So I'm usually on between around 10 and 12, and that's Eastern Standard Time. And so if you caught me on tail, I'll usually bust out my Uncle Ruckus, like, y'all know that Trump.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Well, yeah, I look forward to listening to you, because I enjoyed the dialogue, and I especially information that you just shared tonight with the people. So I look forward to hearing you go even further with your analysis on the situation. But appreciate you, my brother. I'll be looking out for you tomorrow between 10 and 12.
All righty.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. William, are you still there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Love your show, man. You and Karis, you guys do a great job. It's a lot of good movement going on out there for the Most High. And I wanted to change it up just a little bit, because I'm not so much worried about what's going on right now. I mean, I see it happening because it was written, and I'm excited, and I'm joyful and very happy. But one of the things that has been on my heart for a long time, and I've been trying to figure it out, and maybe you can help me, is Obadiah verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahuwah, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? I believe we are seeing this verse happening over the last 4 years, because if you have no understanding, you have confusion, right?
Absolutely.
So with all of the confusion that's been going on from the inception of Donald Trump's presidency to this very day, it's only getting worse for them, but it's not truly affecting us as we look towards his coming to us to get us and to bring us to the wilderness. I believe we're going to the wilderness. The second Exodus is right at the door. I truly believe that. So on my heart is, I'm not worrying about them. I'm worrying about us, getting us together, getting getting away from that UA conflict and using voices like yourself and Brother Dante get back off into these studies to let us know what we should be doing and how we should be doing it as much as we can discern the word and stop worrying about this outside influence. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing that I really would just love to get a little insight on. Do you believe that we are actually going through the process of the understanding completely being left out of Esau, so on and so forth?
Yeah, it's like even let's, and I read it in the preceding verses too, as you pointed out, because verse 7 is key. It says, "All the men of thy what confederacy," right? Because that's a echo right there, the confederacy. But when we read it, all the men of thy confederacy. Actually, I'll start up at verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? You know, because one thing about Esau, and when we start looking at the spirit of Esau, and especially when you really study Esau in the text, Esau did a lot of side deals to circumvent captivity within his community, right? You know, you'll see that Esau, the descendants of Esau, entered into agreements. For example, King Herod, he was a Edomite. You know what I mean? So his father Antipater, you know, they were in cahoots with the Romans. So they had side deals and things going on. So when you look at here and going further with the verse verse 7, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. That sounds familiar, right? You know what I mean? And prevailed against thee, that they eat thy bread, have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. And then just what you highlighted. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the monument of Esau? And verse 9, and thy mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. So it's a lot of moving parts here, and we see some of this happening right now. It's kind of almost like that spirit of Esau, because I like to refer to the spirit of Esau as well, because it doesn't necessarily mean that, how can I put it? Like some of our brothers, right? They could be descendants of Israel, but operating in the spirit of Esau. Does that make sense?
Oh yes, very much
You know what
so.
I mean? So that's why I kind of refer to the spirit of Esau. So let's just say if we cannot identify everyone as far as the physical Esau, we can definitely identify the spirit of Esau. You can't get away from the spirit of Esau. And we
Right.
see the spirit of Esau identified from the very beginning when we start looking at the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. So,
Right.
but nevertheless, the spirit of Esau, you know, we see right now, you see it's kind of like I think you're pointing out, kind of almost like they're canceling each other out. Kind of like
Exactly.
what's that Jehoshaphat, right?
They're falling on each other's swords.
Exactly, the three kingdoms, and you know, Jehoshaphat is heartbroken because he said to the Most High, "Look, Yah, these kingdoms you told us to show compassion to, and now they are coming to join a what confederacy to come against your people." And so Esau, right, that spirit of hatred, you know, hates everyone, including itself,
Right.
right? And what we are seeing even within the politics, we had the Democrats and the Republicans, but when we look at Donald Trump he is selfish. He don't care about anyone or anything but his agenda.
Right.
And we see, go ahead. I don't want
And
to cut
I
you off.
just found out recently, I don't know how true it is. I heard, I should say, that he's a converted Jew because, you know, his son-in-law is Jewish, and he's supposedly converted over. So that would make sense to all of the movements that he's made towards Jerusalem over the last 24 months.
Yeah,
Do you
and
agree or disagree?
oh yeah, because he's part of the Lupovich. His daughter is Lupovich.
Okay.
His son-in-law, the Lupovich. And when you look at the Lupovich, you know, you already know they have their own Rebbe. That's what they refer to as a type of Christ. You know, and when you look at the influence that they have on the educational system, you know, the Bush Senior signed allows some of the laws to be acknowledged, like the Noahide laws, or
Mhm.
you know, and so he did a lot to really manipulate the governmental systems and still put us at a disadvantage as a people. So yeah, I'm definitely familiar with it. And when you start looking at what's happening in Israel, and some of the decisions that Trump has made, uh, they were referring to in Israel, some, not all, but some were referring to Trump and Netanyahu as being the two witnesses.
Right.
I'm not sure if people are familiar with that, but some were actually from the Jewish community. I'm not saying all, but you had some referring to them over there in Israel as being the two witnesses.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Pastor. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off here. I'm gonna catch you on my TV. Oh.
Okay.
Phone
Well, we're
died.
definitely going to do something, and I'll do a teaching on Obadiah for sure. But appreciate you, my brother. All right. Can you guys still hear me? If you can hear me, click 1. All right. If you guys can hear me, just click 1. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. All right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Just wanted to have a brief discussion and so forth. Appreciate you guys. And we'll try to do this more often. We'll do this. Matter of fact, we'll just call it Open Night Wednesdays. And we'll just kind of touch on some subjects, some world news. Matter of fact, we could call it World News Wednesdays or something like that. And we'll just touch on some things, and I'll open up the floor for anyone that want to chime in. I may even do that on some of the teachings that I teach, that if you're listening and you want to get clarity, or if you have questions, you can just jump right on in. I'll put the link in one more time for anyone that want to jump in before we wrap up. If anyone that wanted to have opportunity to jump on, the link is right there. And let's be, again, all I ask is let's be respectful. All right. Seconds to jump in. All right. But in the interim, for those that just jumped in, we covered the current events of what just took place up in the Capitol, on Capitol Hill, some of the things that took place there, in dealing with the group that literally bum rushed the Capitol Hill. And so we talked about them and really talked about the actions and the things that stood out from our observations. So if you guys want to chime in, if there's anyone that want to just share your thoughts on that before we wrap up, feel free to do so. If not, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap up here. Don't want to hold you guys too long, because tomorrow night we got some more great teaching to do, and I will open it up as well. I want to say peace and blessings to my brother, my buddy, Larry Breech. Appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Well, family, I'm not going to hold you guys up. Really appreciate you guys for all that you do. Appreciate you guys for supporting this channel, because we came a long way in a short period of time. At February of last year, we was at about 700 subscribers, and you guys got this channel up to over 5,000 now. And it's nothing of me, it's all of you. It's the testimony of you guys pressing and listening to the teachings and sharing the teachings. So I really appreciate you guys for allowing this channel to grow so quick in a so short period of a time. So I do not take any of you guys for granted. But I want to encourage you guys, sharpen that discernment, keep your eyes and ears open. Do not move and operate in the spirit spirit of fear. The Most High did not give us a spirit of fear. All right. So let's make sure we're not operating in that spirit of fear. Whatever things that are going on will not have power over us. All right. This corona, this pandemic, the Most High has his people covered. We're covered. All right. Now I believe that, and I stand on that with all my heart. So we are covered. I want to say peace and blessings. Let's see, Tribe of Yashara'al, first time here. Appreciate you, my brother, for tuning in. And feel free to chime in next time when we open up the lines. Feel free to chime in if you have any thoughts that you'd like to share. So really appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. And so we're going to get ready to wrap up, guys. And my favorite scripture that I like to close out with is Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14. And that text says, and I know it verbatim because that's a scripture that I use to encourage myself. But it says, and Moses said to the people, these Egyptians that you see here today, you will never have to see them again anymore. All right, let me start it over. And Moses said to the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see today, you will never have to deal with them again. You will not have to deal with the strongholds that they have placed on you, whatever things that they have caused you to have to deal with or suffer from. They will not have that type of influence over you again. They will not have power over you again. And that scripture says the Most High will fight for us, but we have to hold our peace. We can't complain. We have to hold our peace. So again, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of the Most High. These Egyptians that you see today will not have power over you anymore. They may exist, but won't have power over you again anymore. The Most High will fight for you, but you have to hold your peace. Can't go back, can't stay here. Keep moving forward for the last time. Can't go back, can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.